They told us one thing growing up: work hard and everything will work out. So we did, we stayed late, we said yes, we pushed through exhaustion. And still, many of us feel stuck, not because we're lazy, not because we didn't try, but because the world changed and no one warned us. Hard work still matters, but hard work alone doesn't guarantee progress anymore. Today, effort without direction can burn you out. Loyalty without leverage can trap you. And discipline without adaptability can quietly waste years. This isn't a speech about quitting hard work. It's about evolving it. Because the people moving ahead right now aren't always the ones working the hardest. They're the ones working smart, building skills, using leverage, and adapting faster than fear can stop them. If you've ever felt like you're giving your best but not getting your breakthrough, this message is for you. If this resonates, subscribe for more honest conversations about growth and success, and comment below what's one thing you're working hard at that hasn't paid off yet. Hard work used to be the difference. It used to be the thing that separated those who made it from those who didn't. If you were willing to show up early, stay late, and push through discomfort, you had an edge. Not anymore. Today, hard work is the minimum requirement. It's the price of admission. It's what gets you a seat at the table, not what makes people notice you once you're there. Look around. Everyone is working hard. People are tired, stressed, and stretched thin. Long hours are no longer rare. Hustle isn't impressive, it's expected. So when everyone is exhausted, effort alone stops being a differentiator. This is where so many people get frustrated. They're doing everything they were told, they're grinding, they're sacrificing weekends, they're giving their best energy to their work, and still, the results don't match the effort. Promotions stall. Growth slows. Motivation fades. And quietly, resentment creeps in. But the hard truth is this: the world doesn't reward effort, it rewards value. Effort matters, but only when it's applied in the right direction. Hard work without leverage becomes a treadmill. You're moving, sweating, burning energy, but you're not going anywhere new. The pace stays the same, the scenery never changes, and eventually exhaustion takes over. What separates people now isn't who works harder, it's who works intentionally. It's who chooses skills over comfort, who builds systems instead of relying on endless effort, who understands that one well-placed action can outperform 100 hours of unfocused work. This doesn't mean stop working hard, it means stop confusing hard work with progress. There's a difference between being committed and being stuck, between persistence and blind endurance. Sometimes the bravest move isn't pushing harder, it's stepping back and asking, is this effort actually moving me forward? Because hard work is powerful, but only when it's paired with strategy. Otherwise, it quietly drains your time while convincing you you're doing the right thing. If you've ever felt like you're running on empty but not getting ahead, you're not broken. You're just playing a different game with old rules. The advantage now belongs to those who combine effort with clarity, who learn faster than they grind, who build smarter instead of just pushing longer. Hard work opens the door, but what you build after you step inside, that's what decides how far you go. Do you feel like you're working hard but not seeing the results you expected? Where do you think your effort might need more direction? Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they're aiming their effort in the wrong direction. Think about it. Two people can work just as hard, put in the same hours, sacrifice the same comfort, and end up with completely different outcomes. The difference isn't willpower, it's direction. Hard work is energy. Smart work decides where that energy goes. Without clarity, effort scatters. You jump from task to task, goal to goal, opportunity to opportunity. You stay busy, but you don't move forward in a meaningful way. Days fill up. Weeks pass, and at the end of it, you feel tired, but not proud. Smart work starts with asking better questions. Not, how do I work harder, but what actually moves the needle? Direction turns effort into progress. Strategy turns time into leverage. And clarity turns pressure into purpose. We know exactly why you're doing something, what outcome you're aiming for, and how today's work connects to the bigger picture. The same effort suddenly goes further. You stop wasting energy on tasks that feel urgent but don't matter. You stop saying yes to everything and start protecting your focus. Smart work isn't about shortcuts. It's about alignment. It's choosing the right problem instead of solving the wrong one perfectly. It's building skills that compound instead of chasing quick wins that disappear. It's understanding that one focused hour can outperform 10 distracted ones. This is why clarity feels like confidence. When you know where you're going, action feels lighter. You don't need constant motivation because your effort has meaning. Even hard days make sense when they're part of a larger direction. Strategy also creates resilience. When things don't work, and they won't, you don't panic. You adjust. You refine. You learn. Smart work isn't rigid, it's adaptable. It allows you to pivot without starting over. The people who grow fastest aren't the most intense. They're the most intentional. They design their days instead of reacting to them. They measure progress instead of counting hours. They build systems that support consistency instead of relying on mood. Smart work multiplies effort because it removes waste. It respects time. It honors energy, and it turns discipline into something sustainable. Hard work gets you tired, smart work gets you somewhere. When effort and direction move together, progress stops feeling random. It becomes predictable, and that's when growth stops being frustrating and starts becoming inevitable. What's one area of your life where you're working hard, but could work smarter with more clarity or strategy? Money solves problems, but skills prevent them. That's something most people realize too late. We're taught to chase paychecks, titles, and stability, to find something that pays the bills and hold on to it tightly. And for a while that works, until the world shifts, until industries change, until the rules move without warning. When that happens, income alone isn't enough. What saves you is what you can do, not just what you earn. Skills create freedom because they give you options, and options are power. When you have valuable skills, you're not trapped in one role, one company, or one version of yourself. You can adapt, you can pivot, you can rebuild. You're not waiting to be chosen. You're capable of creating value wherever you go. That's real security. The right skills travel with you. They don't disappear when a job ends or a system changes. They compound over time. The more you practice them, the sharper they get. And unlike money, no one can take them away from you. Skills also change how you see the world. You stop thinking like an employee waiting for instructions and start thinking like a problem solver. You notice opportunities others miss because you understand how value is created. That shift alone can change the direction of your life. This isn't about collecting certifications or learning everything at once. It's about mastering skills that matter. Skills that solve real problems. Skills that scale beyond your time. Communication, critical thinking, digital literacy, sales, writing, leadership, adaptability. These aren't trends, they're foundations. And the people who invest in these skills don't just earn more. They choose more. They choose who they work with, how they work, where their energy goes. They gain leverage in conversations, negotiations, and decisions. Without skills, effort has limits. You can work harder, but only for so long. With skills, effort multiplies. One idea can turn into many outcomes. One decision can open doors you didn't even know existed. Freedom doesn't come from avoiding work. It comes from becoming capable. Every skill you build is a vote for your future independence. A step away from being stuck. A step toward control. You don't need to be the best in the world. You just need to be better than yesterday in something that matters. Because income pays for today, but skills protect your tomorrow. What's one skill you believe could give you more freedom in the next few years if you committed to learning it now? There's a moment in every journey when you realize something uncomfortable. No matter how hard you work, there are only so many hours in a day. Effort has a ceiling, time has a limit, and if your results depend only on how much you personally can do, growth will always feel heavy. That's where leverage changes everything. Leverage is what allows one effort to create many outcomes. It's the difference between pushing a boulder uphill every day and building a system that moves it for you. For a long time, we were taught that success meant doing more hours, more tasks, more sacrifice. But the people who pull ahead aren't the ones doing the most. They're the ones setting things up so results don't require constant force. Systems are leverage. When you design a process that works without you watching it every second, you free your attention for higher level thinking. Instead of starting from zero every day, you build on what already exists. Technology is leverage. One video can reach millions, one tool can replace hours of manual work, one piece of content can keep working long after you stop. Technology allows your effort to travel farther than your physical presence ever could. Networks are leverage. No one succeeds alone. The right relationships open doors faster than raw effort ever will. A single conversation can create opportunities that years of grinding couldn't. Networks aren't about using people, they're about growing together. Leverage isn't cheating, it's not lazy, it's not cutting corners. It's understanding the rules of the modern world. When you rely only on effort, you trade time for results. When you build leverage, you trade thinking for scale. This is why two people with the same work ethic can end up in completely different places. One stays trapped in linear growth. More work equals slightly more progress. The other builds leverage and experiences exponential results. Leverage also protects your energy. It reduces burnout. It creates space to learn, adapt, and grow. And most importantly, it gives you choice. The choice to step back, to say no, to redirect your focus. The goal isn't to stop working. The goal is to stop starting over every day. Ask yourself, is my effort compounding or resetting? Because in a world where time is limited, leverage is how you stop running in place and start moving forward. What's one system, tool, or connection you could build that would allow your effort to go further instead of starting from zero every day? Some of the most exhausted people you'll ever meet aren't the most successful. They're just the busiest. Calendars packed, notifications nonstop, days filled with tasks. And yet when the week ends, nothing truly meaningful has moved forward. Just motion, just noise. Just another cycle of feeling drained without feeling fulfilled. Busyness is easy to confuse with importance. It looks productive, it feels responsible, it even earns praise. But busyness can become a hiding place, a way to avoid the harder question. Is what I'm doing actually creating value? Because value isn't measured in hours, it's measured in impact. You can work 12 hours a day and still not move the needle. You can answer emails, attend meetings, and check boxes endlessly, and never build anything that lasts. Meanwhile, someone else makes one clear decision, creates one useful solution, or delivers one meaningful result, and their impact outweighs your entire week. That's not unfair, that's reality. Exhaustion isn't proof of progress, it's often proof of misalignment. When output matters more than hours, priorities change. You stop asking how long something will take and start asking what outcome it produces. You begin to protect your energy instead of draining it on low-value tasks. You stop glorifying burnout and start respecting focus. The shift is uncomfortable because busyness feels safe. It gives the illusion of control. But real value requires thinking. It requires saying no. It requires choosing depth over activity. And that can feel risky in a culture obsessed with hustle. But the truth is, the world doesn't reward how tired you are. It rewards what you create, solve, and improve. Impact comes from clarity, from understanding what matters most and eliminating everything else, from recognizing that not all work is equal, and some work, no matter how hard, simply doesn't matter. When you focus on value, work becomes lighter, not heavier. Your effort becomes intentional. Your energy lasts longer, and your confidence grows because you can see the results of what you're doing. Busyness keeps you occupied. Value moves you forward. The question isn't whether you're working hard, it's whether your work is working for you. Where in your life are you busy, but not creating real value? What's one thing you could stop doing to focus on what actually matters? There was a time when stability meant staying in one place, one job, one role, one skill set. If you were loyal, patient, and consistent, the future felt predictable. That time is gone. Today, nothing stands still long enough for comfort to protect you. Industries evolve. Technology reshapes roles. Skills that were valuable 5 years ago can quietly become outdated. Not because you failed, but because the world moved. And here's the hard truth. Change doesn't announce itself. It doesn't knock loudly, it just slowly passes by those who refuse to move with it. Adaptability is no longer optional, it's survival. The people who last aren't the ones with the longest resumes or the most impressive titles. They're the ones who learn quickly, adjust without ego, and stay curious even when they're uncomfortable. Learning fast beats knowing a lot. When you cling too tightly to what once worked, you start defending the past instead of building the future. You resist new tools. You dismiss new ideas. You tell yourself things will go back to normal, and quietly, opportunities move on without you. The most dangerous place to be is successful but rigid. Adaptable people don't panic when change shows up. They observe, they ask questions, they experiment, they accept that feeling like a beginner again is part of growth, not a sign of failure. They don't wait until they're forced to change. They change before it's necessary. This mindset creates real security, not the illusion of safety, but the confidence that no matter what shifts, you'll be able to respond. You're not dependent on one system, one company, or one identity. You trust your ability to learn. Adaptability also keeps you relevant. It keeps your thinking sharp. It expands your options. And most importantly, it keeps you in motion while others stand still, hoping the ground doesn't shift beneath them. Resisting change rarely looks dramatic, it looks comfortable, and that's why it's dangerous. The people who fall behind don't always fail loudly, they fade quietly, doing the same things, waiting for the world to reward consistency that no longer applies. Adaptability doesn't mean chasing every trend, it means staying open, it means updating your skills, it means letting go of what no longer serves you. Even if it wants to find you, your future won't belong to the most experienced, it will belong to the most flexible. What's one change you've been resisting, and one skill or habit you know you need to start learning to stay ahead? For a long time, we were taught to admire endurance. Push through, hold on, don't quit, stay strong no matter how heavy it gets. And endurance matters, but it's not the same as growth. You can endure a situation for years and still go nowhere. You can survive long enough to feel proud of your resilience, yet look back and realize nothing truly changed. Endurance keeps you standing. Rebuilding moves you forward. Sometimes the hardest truth to face is this: pushing harder isn't the answer. The system you're pushing inside is broken. When progress stalls, the instinct is to add more effort, longer hours, more pressure, less rest. But if the foundation is flawed, all that force just deepens the cracks. You don't fix a collapsing structure by leaning into it. You step back and rebuild. Long-term growth asks better questions. Not how do I survive this, but what needs to change so I don't have to keep surviving. Rebuilding requires honesty. It means admitting that what once worked no longer does, that the path you committed to might need redesigning, that habits you've defended for years could be holding you back. That's uncomfortable, and that's why many people avoid it. Enduring feels noble, rebuilding feels risky, but endurance without direction slowly drains your future. You get used to stress. You normalize exhaustion. You convince yourself this is just how life is, and quietly your potential gets postponed. Rebuilding looks different. It looks slower at first. It requires patience. You pause. You reflect. You redesign your routines, your goals, your systems. You focus on sustainability instead of speed. You build habits you can keep, skills that compound, systems that support you when motivation fades. Rebuilding isn't quitting, it's upgrading. The people who grow for decades aren't the ones who never struggled. They're the ones who knew when to stop forcing and start restructuring. They didn't just endure bad systems, they replaced them. Smart foundations carry you further than raw effort ever will. When your structure is solid, progress feels lighter. Growth becomes predictable. Setbacks don't break you because you're not relying on constant pressure to move forward. Sometimes success isn't about how much pain you can tolerate. It's about how well you can design a life that doesn't require constant suffering to succeed. If you've been holding on just to prove you can, maybe it's time to build something better, not harder. What's one area of your life where you've been enduring when you know deep down it's time to rebuild the foundation instead? When you put all of this together, a clear picture emerges. Hard work still matters, but it's no longer the finish line. It's the starting point. It gets you in the room, but it doesn't guarantee you'll be heard. What separates people now isn't how much they suffer, how busy they look, or how long they can endure. It's how intentionally they build. Smart work gives effort direction. Skills create freedom instead of dependence. Leverage allows one action to echo instead of disappear. Value matters more than hours. Adaptability protects you when the world shifts, and rebuilding gives you a future that doesn't rely on constant exhaustion. Success today isn't louder, it's wiser. It belongs to people who stop confusing motion with progress, who stop glorifying burnout, who understand that real growth doesn't come from squeezing more out of yourself, but from designing better systems around you. This isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters most. Sometimes growth means letting go of old rules. Sometimes it means unlearning what once kept you safe. And sometimes it means admitting that pushing harder isn't courage, it's avoidance. The strongest move you can make is stepping back and choosing to build something that lasts. If this message resonated, don't just nod along, act on it. Pick one area of your life where you'll stop enduring and start rebuilding. One skill you'll commit to learning. One system you'll improve. One distraction you'll remove. That's how momentum begins. Quietly, intentionally, sustainably. And if you want more honest conversations about growth, adaptability, and building a life that actually works, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, and share which one of these points hit you the hardest. Your effort deserves better foundations. Now it's time to build them.